Okay, so in this video, I want to show you how to use nested loops. So I'm not sure how much you'll need it for Vex, but there is a possibility that you could use it, maybe in Auton or something. So here is just like a simple example of where you could use it, right? I want to print a triangle using these asterisks, and what I can do is for each row, I want to print that amount of columns. So if I'm on the first row, I want to print 1 star. If I'm on the second row, I want to print 2 stars. If I'm on the third, 3 stars. Fourth, 4 stars. Fifth, 5 stars, right? And here, what I did was I made a range. So in the range 1 to whatever 1 plus the original size is, do um, make that many rows, essentially, is what it means. So what it does is it sets this variable current row to equal 1, which is the first number in this list. So by the way, when I add this number and then I add a comma and then I put this second thing is the last number, or this is the range, the actual range, and 1 is the starting value in the list. So I want to start from 1 and go to 5, not including 5. So that's another way of using this other range, right? But instead of specifying just the like range that's in, just like go until 4, I can say start at 2, for example, and go until 4. So that's essentially what it does here. Start at 1 and go until 1 plus whatever size I say. So if I said 5, it'll go to 6, which includes 5 but doesn't include 6. And that's why we have 5 stars here as well. So that's what this range thing is, right? And it sets the current row to whatever the item in that list is. So if the current item in the list is 1, it's on row 1. And if it's on row 1, I want to print, I only want to print 1 star because that's the amount of columns as well. So that's what this first top 4 is. And the second 4 is for columns. So this is for rows, make this many rows. This is for columns. So if I have, um, yeah, so for whatever number the column is at, if I'm, or for whatever number the row is at, so if I'm on the third row, I want to print a star 3 times, or whatever amount of times the row is at. So if I'm on row 5, I want to print 5 times. If I'm on row 2, I want to print 2 times. And essentially, it sets the column to being 2. I am not sure if that made sense, hopefully. But if that does, then great. So essentially, it creates a range from the row it's at, and for each value in that range, it sets the column to whatever the first number in that range is. So here what it would do is, if it's on row 3, let's say, if it's on this row, right, I'm saying create a range going until, um, yeah. So create a list from 0, 1, 2, 3. Or actually 0, 1, 2. Yeah. So for each number, right, it creates this list. So if I'm on the third row, it creates a range of 3, and it creates a range that goes 0, 1, 2. Because remember, 3 is not included, and we never said to start at 1, so by default it starts at 0. So we still have 3 items in this new list. And it counts for the first column, right? It says column 0. So on column 0, which actually is the first column, it will print this. And by the way, end equals this just means don't add a new line. Just continue on the same line. That's what it means. So for the first, when it gets this first item in the list, item 0, it will print an asterisk, come back to this, set the column to being 1. So when it's on the first column, it'll do the same code again. It'll add the asterisk, make sure the end is not a new line character, so it won't make a new line, and then comes back, and then does that again for 2. which is the second item. Now this number right now doesn't really matter at all what the number is. It just matters the amount of elements in this list because we just want to loop the amount of elements that are in here, not the amount of the number in here. So it doesn't matter if this was 0, it doesn't matter if this was 1,000,000, it will still only loop 3 times because we only have 3 items in this list. So yeah, it prints the asterisk 3 times for the third row, and then after it finishes this loop, it comes to this next print statement. So what this print statement does, it doesn't actually print anything, but all it does is it adds a new line. So if I was on row 3, right, now it adds a new line, and I start printing my next thing on the next line. So it adds a new line, goes back here, goes to the next number in this range. So remember, if now I'm on row 4, now it will, actually when I said this, it made this. This is what it made. And when I was on row 3, it was here. Now I'm on row 4, which is now here. So now 4 is my current row, goes back to this loop, creates a new range, which goes 0, 1, 2, 3, because 4 is not included, but there are 4 elements in the list. Does this 4 times because there are 4 elements in the list. So it prints the asterisk 4 times and then prints a new line. And then it does that again until it gets to the last element, which is 5. So now if I change this to being like 10, you can see it does the same thing all the way until it gets to the end. Hopefully, again, I hope that made sense. But if it doesn't, don't worry about this example particularly. I just want you to see that loops can be nested. So similar to how I could put an if-else statement in another if-else statement in another if-else statement, I can do the same for a loop. And that's not just limited to a for loop. You can, of course, also do that in a while loop. But yeah, that might be useful in your auton. And yeah, probably for your auton.